So today is day 7 of my Heartful Human adventure, so to speak. And I got to witness some really interesting synchronicities the last 24 hours or so. And it got me thinking about when multiple people are living from their heart and they're following the inner guidance and their passion. What happens when multiple people are doing that all at the same time and they're interrelating? What kind of synchronicities can grow and blossom from that? Perhaps even like an exponential number of possibilities can open up when multiple people are interrelating and living from their hearts more fully. Simple things, simple as last night I gave some computer gear hardware to a friend of mine, a buddy of mine who came over to visit. And before the end of the night, he had connected with another friend who happened to mention that he needs those exact things for a project that he's working on. So my buddy was able to just hand them over to him, say, here you go, there they are. And there's just like this beautiful flow. These possibilities open up, So it just got me thinking, like, what is the possibility when more than one person, say a whole community, or let's go really big and say the whole world, what if everybody was living from a more heart-centered place where they were giving those things that they don't need anymore? They were acting from a place of abundance and not from scarcity, acting from a place of we versus me. It's like the multiplicity of that is uncalculable. Like it's immeasurable. There's no way to know what the world would be like at this point if we had more people living from our hearts. If we would choose to relinquish what we didn't need and hand it over to somebody whose need is more, or whose alignment is greater. A friend of mine offered me a spot co-leading a workshop, and I found myself questioning whether I wanted to hand it off to a friend because his business is in more alignment with that type of workshop, even though it's seemingly a great opportunity to be seen. I just notice, like, when I'm living from my heart more, I don't feel scarce about opportunities. And I want alignment to be pure and to be clear and to be solid. And if it's not with me, perhaps it is with somebody else, and I'm willing to give that. So there's something there that I'm exploring, which is the exponential or multiplicity of many heart-centered people interrelating, working together. Something else I was also thinking about today, feeling into, is where does fear live? Is fear in the heart? Like, is my heart feel fearful? Because as I'm being with it, I'm not sure that that's true for me. I think fear lives in my head. Fear is my imagination making up possible stories of what could go wrong. But it's not necessarily something I feel in my heart. It's something I want to look at more, but it was just something that came up, like, where is fear in our being? Is fear created in our brains, in our minds, the amygdala? We're keeping ourselves safe through fear, making up stories of what could happen, becoming afraid of those stories, and stepping away. Or even making up stories from what has happened. It's an interesting piece. Because it's like when I'm afraid of something, I'm usually in my head, and when I dip down into my heart, my fear resolves. I get into some form of purity around the thing, whatever the thing is. I find myself tapping into the parts of me that feel grateful or excited or elated or blessed. Grateful for those parts. grateful for what the thing is. And I go up into my mind and it's fearful again. So it's just an interesting exploration. Where does fear live in us? And could we eliminate, 80% of fear by just being more in our hearts and less in our brains and our heads? I'm noticing a desire to find less abstraction around this concept. That's one of my goals for this, is to really ground the idea of what does it mean to live in our hearts, not only through what are the results, what is it, how does that impact us or benefit us, but what does it mean? What does it look like? What does it actually look like to do that? And I don't really have an answer for that right now. But it's one of the questions that I'm exploring and being with in this process and enjoying. And I have good faith that I'll find it. So this is the completion of the first week of a 12-week process. Doing the math in my head. Notice my eyes look up. Going up into my head. Yeah, this is the end of the first week of what will be a 12-week process, a 90-day process. I feel great. I feel much better than I did before I started this process. I feel in alignment, and I have tools for when I notice myself going into fear or scarcity, that when I dip back into my heart, I feel more trust, I feel more calm. And I'm choosing to do things that fulfill me and have me feel good. And even the things that aren't my favorite things, I'm finding more joy in them. I'm finding ways to enjoy them and approach them from a different light and in a different way, maybe in a different format in terms of time expenditure. Maybe not trying to do it all at once, but breaking it up. There's just ways that I'm finding more creative ways to approach things. My creativity in general is higher. I feel like my words and my writing are just more beautiful, more eloquent. I feel more open and available. I feel happier and excitable, more playful and childlike. And I think the biggest thing for me is how much happier I feel, how much better I feel in my life when I'm living in this way. I let go of all the fears and the overthinking, and I just live in my heart, live in the present moment, and move with it. And I just have this innate trust that everything is going to work out just fine. And it will. Probably better than fine. Something beautiful and powerful is happening. I know that for sure, though I don't know exactly what. I can't put it in a box, and I can't point my finger at it at this point, but something is happening. So I'm going to stay with it.